You should follow your passion. Always do what you love, and you'll never have a terrible job.
What doesn't
never
hurt
trust
you make
anyone
always
ever.
gotta fake it till
Better
you
off
make it.
flying solo.
Think about what
Stop
other people think
complaining
of you.
so much.
What doesn't
Be
hurt
yourself.
you
Make
makes
sure
you
about how
stronger.
better
Others
than
respond
who
to
you
you
are.
already.
Everything happens for a reason. You should follow your
Never
passion.
selfish.
What
Anyone
doesn't
make
crime
crime.
make better
All
off
of the
flying
crimes,
solo.
you only get to live
Grass, no
once.
matter
Do
how
yourself.
hungry
Better make
they
it
get.
count for somebody
Better
you like a
hurt
lion.
you
Always
never
do
lower
your
your
standards.
standards.
You
You
never
never
have
have
to
to
calm
calm
down.
down.
Better make it count for
What
something.
doesn't hurt you make you.
It's okay to
Think
eat.
about what just
other
other
good
people
thing to
fail
do is
to
never
expire
trust
you.
anyone.
Always
Gotta fake it till you
Better
make
off
it.
flying
Lions
than
it's okay
grass,
to
no
eat.
matter how hungry
Barely
they get.
expired.
Be like a
Complaining
lion.
so
Never
much.
lower your
Calm
standards.
down.
What you love, and
A
you'll
good thing to
never
do
have
what
a
doesn't
terrible
hurt
job.
jobs while at work. What
If you
doesn't
get
hurt
fired,
you
make
once.
you strong.
Think about what
Better
other
make
people
it
think
calm
of you. Always
down.
gotta
Be
fake it till you
conscious
make
about
it.
how
Selfish.
others
Never
respond
choose
to
crimes.
anyone ever.
All of the
You should
crimes.
follow your passion.
Always gotta
Always
fake
be
it till you
taking
make
risks.
it.
Never
Be
stop
yourself.
working on
Think
yourself.
about
It's
what
okay
other
to be
people
who
think
you
you
are.
are.
Stop
Complaining
complaining
so
so
much
much
about
about
how
how
others
others
learn
learn
like
what you
second
love,
or
and
third
you'll never have a
languages.
terrible
Always
job.
gotta get to
Lions
lions
all
all
the
the
grass,
time.
no matter how
Be
hungry they
yourself.
get.
Lions
But
be
also
like
grass,
a
no
lion.
matter
Never
how
lower
hungry
your
they
standards.
get.
Follow your
Be
passion.
never
Good thing
trust
to do.
anyone
Never lower
ever.
your standards.
You're better off
You'll
never
never
have a
have a
terrible
job.
job.
Calm down. Good thing to do.
You
Only get to
make
live
you
once.
love.
Be
Better have a
selfish.
terrible
Do
job.
fire. Be
Grass, no
yourself.
matter
All
how
of the
hungry
crime.
they get.
Think about what
Be
you
like a
learn.
lion.
Never
Never
lower
lower
your
your
standards.
standards.
Calm
Calm
down.
down all the time.
Shut up already.
Can't we all get some simple advice for once in our lives? In an industry where our primary goal is to give simple advice, how many of us can say that the advice we get is all that simple to do? With all of our lives being different, there are nuances and complexities to it that advice givers often forget about. Some of us grew up with a ton of privileges where others weren't as fortunate as us. Others had to do things some of us could only imagine doing to get to where they are right now. Our lives are never as simple as do this thing or try this specific hack or method, and somehow our problems are just magically solved and fixed.
Not as long as we have our imagination.
It's for this reason that I've been skeptical about the industry that I'm in. It's why I want to take a more realistic outlook at this industry and have done so from the very start. There is potential for a lot of good in this industry. I believe that. But we also have to face the fact that things aren't so simple in life. At least most things are that way. One exception to this is the book Simple Fucking Advice for Everyday Humans, written by Simone C. Fruch. As you'd expect from the title of this book, it really just is simple advice that anyone can use. This advice isn't guaranteed to blow your mind, make you into a multimillionaire, or set you up for the rest of your life. No, it's simple advice.
I mean, it's alright, like...
Advice that makes you less ignorant, and perhaps more prepared for the trials that are ahead of you.
Oh. You know, not everybody like onions.
It's rough around the edges in terms of language, as you could guess from the title alone. But as Simone has said, it's a book for you if you can set your ego aside and read through it. At its core, it's simple advice to make a mental note of. And I love it for that. In an industry filled with random people online and offline, rich, middle class, and poor people telling you how to live your life, is that we're all pretty biased. We've all had different experiences in our own lives, seen some stuff and interpreted it in a different way than others, and so on and so forth. What we believe in when it comes to living an ideal life is passed on through our work. And for me, I believe it's the people's responsibility to take that information, distill it into something meaningful for them, and to apply that in particular.
Ooh, that's good.
Unfortunately, a lot of advice is taken as the unvarnished truth or universal rules that we have to apply. People take it either way too seriously or literally, and they end up being in a place where they never wanted to be in the first place and became someone that they didn't really want to be.
What the hell was that? Spaceball 1.
In other cases, gurus know this and are actively steering people towards being mini versions of themselves. That, or at the very least, being major fans of these individuals and following them as some sort of acolyte. In Simone's book, you don't really run into any of that sort of situation at all. Unlike so many other books that promise you that you will be getting ahead in life, this book is just honest or right out the door. In his dedication, Simone says, "In my short time on this spinning rock, I have come to realize many things. First and foremost, that I genuinely know very little." In an industry where self-help gurus are usually positioning themselves as experts and great fonts of knowledge, it's refreshing to see someone right at the very beginning speak plainly and bluntly and present themselves as a genuine human being.
Oh my God! Wow!
Someone who makes mistakes, someone who gets messy, someone who understands life is all about the ups and downs. This is in addition to willingly offer some genuinely sound and simple advice while swearing like a sailor most of the time.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Simone has a total of 19 pieces of advice, all dedicated to a specific chapter, and is wrapped up with his final thoughts. With each chapter mentioning the word fuck or fucking in it at least once, I immediately got some Mark Manson vibes from it in terms of his overall writing style. Combined with him being an award-winning educator, it was clear that the delivery in his writing style is going to be direct and to the point. And that was the case throughout the entire novel. Looking over the chapter's titles alone, you can already piece together what the advice is all about because of that. Some of that advice entails things like slow down and enjoy life, but speed up if you see opportunities to do so. The 4 stages of what it means to be an expert and recognizing people who take those steps are always learning and growing. Stop trying to impress everyone. Don't make big decisions when you're really happy or really angry. Your snags in life can be opportunities if you treat them accordingly.
Yes! That's awesome!
Expanding on those ideas, Simone provides life examples, human observations, like our obsession for instant gratification, and spins it into life lessons and perspectives, all of which is wrapped up with blunt wording and, of course, the occasional fuck thrown in there. As someone who is used to Mark Manson's books, I don't find it too overbearing, though one of the few criticisms that I've seen of this book from some reviewers is that the overuse of swear words in this book. Personally, I have to sort of agree to it. I know that personally, the swearing doesn't really bother me all that much. However, I am of the mind that swearing is more of a delicate practice, where if you don't swear that much, it's more impactful when you actually do swear. Whereas the overuse of it seems really watered down, and using it as a term to emphasize something, it really starts to lose its meaning when you're swearing constantly or so often in titles and throughout the book. All of that being said, the messaging that Simone is presenting in this book is genuine and is easy and simple to apply. This book is heavily devoted to self-identification, or as he puts it, know who the fuck you are.
Lilu Dallas Multipass.
It's a message that I can get behind, as I think that self-reflection and knowing who you are can let you sift through advice better, When you know who you are and where you want to go in life, you can make better decisions on the various pieces of information that are being presented to you, and so on. All around, the simple advice helps you in some way shape or form, build up that self-identification, and how to go through life to some degree.
It would be so awesome. It would be so cool.
Again, it's not going to be solving all of your issues, but it is going to be solving some fundamental issues that I think are pretty important to be addressing in certain cases. Every book builds up to a core theme that is meant to fix particular problems in your life and help you grow. The Secret had the law of attraction, even though that they used that tactic in a very manipulative way. Rich Dad, Poor Dad had strategies to seeing wealth and how to be building it up, even though there wasn't really any kind of clear direction in that book, despite it being so popular. In the case of Simone's book, it's this self-identification that I've been talking about. This stuck with me because it showed that underneath all the swearing was a man who valued growth and wrote a book to help people figure out themselves, even just a little. It's not going to hold all of the answers to all of your problems or revolutionize your life. However, the thing with simple advice is that it helps you build up momentum, provided that it's practical advice that people can use.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
One of the starting points for me to gain confidence and figure out who I am started as I began my self-help journey back in 2010. I struggled with talking to people and trusting other people. And all around, I was in a weird place, mentally speaking. That encouraged me to take a government-funded program where I lived with 10 other people I have never met before, and I lived in various rural towns that I have never been to.
Who are you people?
The experience ultimately gave me the opportunity to travel across Canada, and it was life-changing for me. While I've said plenty of times in my writing that that experience in itself wasn't as great as it could have been, I'm still reminded years after that of how impactful that experience was for me and my overall development and who I am today. That experience helped me to identify who I am and what my desires are, what my values are, what I believe in, and how I overall think and see certain problems. I had the beginning of who the fuck I was and who I wanted to be. The more I delved into self-help, the more I came to learn how important all of that was for me. This experience, which as a teen I brushed off as not as good as it could have been, was a pivotal and defining experience for me. And having that meant I couldn't be swayed as much by all the high highs that so many gurus rely on and deliver in their various products and services.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
This is most important because in an industry that teaches us about ourselves, so little is spent on learning who you are and who you want to be. We tend to get pulled in and focused on specific solutions to our individual problems that we're dealing with. We don't actually dwell on why we want to solve these problems or whether these problems are worth solving right now. So to have a book dedicating multiple chapters to directly talk about those elements is fantastic. Some passages that spoke to me around this subject are as follows. When we shift back to a more realistic view of our lives, we can characterize millions of things we want. Without those, we are left with only a few high priority things we need. I am in no way saying you shouldn't have and also enjoy the wants in your life, but we need to keep them in perspective. Our insatiable pursuit of wants should never get in the way of obtaining our needs. This is Simone Fruk on finding our wants and needs in life. When it comes to never looking down at opportunities, Simone says this: when you realize that nothing should ever be beneath you, you also choose to depend upon the person you should be able to count on the most, yourself. When it comes to knowing what you don't know, he talks about this. It's not enough to recognize our growth areas and just acknowledge that we are not experts in everything. We must also be willing to grow in those areas in which we are lacking. The easiest way to do so is to yoke up with those who actually are experts. There are a lot of those nuggets scattered throughout the book, and as you can tell from those quotes, they're pretty simple to process. They still have some amazement, and for those who are in that self-discovery stage, this will certainly help them.
It would be so awesome. It would be so cool.
But for those who are already ahead of that, we can still take solace in these sorts of things. This is good and simple advice, and it doesn't hurt to reinforce it and see it from a different angle too. Unlike a lot of self-help books, genuine implementation is not that complicated for them. It's a matter of reading this book and taking some time to take those words to heart. Between this book being not that long and larger than usual font, it's easy to flip through the pages to find particular passages like the ones that I just read. All of the chapters are relatively short, with each chapter dedicating 3 pages to 3 quotes. It's why this book is 186 pages long. About a third of them are dedicated to these quotes with and insights for quick references. All around, the simple advice book delivers what it promises. It's not going to fix your entire life, but it's a quick read even for someone like me who is a pretty slow reader. Honestly, it was a good book to ease myself back into self-help reading simply because it's been so long since I've been reading any kind of self-help books in the first place. And I have no doubt that other people are going to be enjoying this too. And that's all I wanted to be saying about this book. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Be sure to do all the wonderful algorithm stuff, liking the video, commenting, and of course subscribing to this channel if you haven't done so already. I'm hoping to be doing more of these projects in the future, so I would appreciate it again just doing all of those algorithms stuff, and I hope that you enjoyed this video.